Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing sort of like a story time video, which will be about my birth and delivery story. I've watched quite a few of these videos myself and I always find them so interesting, especially when I had just had my baby, because like obviously I wanted to see what other people's experiences were and how they felt like emotionally and what it was like for them to have a baby, because it's like one of the biggest events of your life. So I thought, you know what, let me just share my story too. There could be maybe one person that I could help through this video in some sort of way. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So I was pregnant for basically all of 2017. Our little baby was born on the 19th of November. And okay, sorry if I keep like maybe looking up into the corner, but I didn't write down any notes. I just wanted this to be sort of just a real depiction or a real emotional sort of story of what I went through, so I didn't want to have it, like listed out of how it was. So yes, Ava was born on the 19th of November 2017. So how it kind of happened was, well, what in the world? Oh, I think it's our front door, the wind is just blowing outside. So Ava was born at 1:03 in the morning, and it was not how I expected it to go, like at all. And I'm sure most people who have a baby will tell you that, like, it didn't go as they had planned. Thank goodness I had my baby hospital bag and my personal hospital bag already packed, because I was like, I wanted to be prepared because you never know what's going to happen. So Ava's due date was actually the 5th of December. So like we weren't really expecting her, although we really wanted her to come, because like I was huge. I'm going to pop a photo up here. She was a big baby and I was just like hot and tired and exhausted. And I was so excited to meet this, like our new little precious baby. And I think it was about 2 weeks before that, or maybe it was just a week, I can't quite remember. But I went for my normal like gynae checkup with the obstetrician to like, see what's going on, get a checkup. And she's like checked and she was like, you're already 1 centimeter dilated. So I like freaked out, because like I didn't even know like you started dilating before the baby comes. Like I thought it kind of like happens on the day that you have your baby or whatever. So like we were getting so nervous. We're like, this baby's gonna come, like, and she even thought like, the baby's gonna come in the next few days. So we got my mom to fly out earlier, because she was only supposed to come like a few days before Ava's due date. So we were like, Mom, I'm 1 centimeter dilated already, like you need to come over to South Africa. So she hopped on a plane, came here. Turns out Ava still decided to wait like almost 2 weeks before she came. So we were like patiently waiting. It was really hot. I was like tired and huge and I felt like crap. And yeah, I just wanted her to come. So let me guys tell you a little bit about the pregnancy. I had like a super safe pregnancy. I didn't have any complications. I was really big and really tired and mostly miserable. Like, you speak to those women who have had babies and they're like, oh, I love pregnancy. I felt amazing. I just felt my best. Like, that was not me. I wanted that. Like, I wanted to feel amazing, but like everything hurt. I think my back hurt, my hips hurt, couldn't sleep at night. Like, okay, I know that's like minuscule in the greater scheme of things, because some people are really sick. They have terrible morning sickness, they're vomiting all the time, they lose weight, they have complications. So in that sense, I was really lucky. I didn't have any problems. So for that I can be like so grateful and so thankful, and I really am, because it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard. It was pretty good. What happened was, like that week after I heard that I was 1 centimeter dilated, I was like, like bouncing on those medicine balls every day and like going for super long walks and just like trying to stretch and do things to sort of induce labor naturally, like drink red raspberry leaf tea. But I didn't do that. I couldn't find any either. And I heard it tasted gross. So I was like, no thanks. And also you can eat pineapple. I can't I can't remember what it was called that was in the pineapple. I can't remember, but let me see if I can pop it up on the screen from Google. Google could help with that. Yeah, so literally 2 days before Ava came, I ate like an entire pineapple, like both days. I was like, this is gonna work. And then on that day, I was not expecting it. It was about like 5:30 p.m. and we were like, let's just go for a little walk around the estate where we live. It's not here where we live now, it was the previous place. And my mum was there and Vaughn was home. So we're like, let's all go for a walk. Went for a nice little long walk. It felt fantastic. We found this dog that had escaped from its yard. So I was like playing with it and patting it and everything. And then I got home and I was like, oh my goodness, like I really need to pee, as you do during pregnancy, like you need to pee all the time. So I was like, you know, I just need to pee. And then like the weirdest thing happened. I heard this little like pop. And I was like, that's weird. And like I just like TMI, but just started peeing. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, I just peed. I like got up. It just didn't stop. And I called Vaughn and I was like, can't help. I'm like peeing myself all the time. Like, what the hell is this? I was like, really? Are you sure you're just peeing yourself? Like, did your waters not just break? I actually could not believe it. And like from what I had heard and what I had read on the internet, I thought like your water breaks maybe after your labor starts, you know, like you start getting contractions and it takes a couple hours and it's really painful and then you end up going to the hospital like when your contractions are 5 minutes apart or whatever the case may be. So I was like, no ways, this cannot be it. Like I had no pain, nothing. And I phoned my mother-in-law and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I think my waters just broke. She was like, you have to get to the hospital. Like, you know, and she was like, she told me like, the baby could possibly not have enough fluid, so like you have to get there now. So I was like, oh my gosh. We quickly got everything together in the car. My mom like was busy on a Skype call. She's like, I gotta go, you know, my granddaughter's being born. And we were all like super excited. We called all the family and they came to the hospital. And I got there and I was like, fine. The guy at the front door was like, here's a wheelchair for you. I was like, no, I'm still good. Like I wasn't in any pain or anything. You know, just admit me, sign all the paperwork, got admitted into the hospital. And I was like, you know, today's probably the day I'm having a baby. And then all the nurses like looked at me and they're like, no, you're only like 2 centimeters dilated. You're probably gonna have a baby tomorrow. So I was like, okay, cool, that's so chill. We all chilled there and we ordered Nando's. So I had like a vegetarian burger and some of those fry thingies, wedges. And we all sat in this little hospital room, like squished up together, like all eating our Nando's. It was my mum, my mother-in-law and her partner and our cousins. We were just like having a great time. And then the nurses were like, no, you're gonna have a baby tomorrow. And by this time it was about 7 p.m. And I was laying there and then I was like, oh, my, I started to get like kind of pains. I was like, this is so not normal. Like it's getting a little bit more intense. It's a little bit sore. And they were still like, nah, your baby's coming tomorrow. So by that time, like everyone had to leave. It was getting late, probably like 9 p.m. at this point. Everyone went home. It was just Vaughn and I chilling in this room. And to be honest, like I had really not a good hospital experience, like at all. If I could do things again, I'd go to a different hospital. It's not that the hospital is bad. I think it's a good hospital, but they were just, I think they were understaffed and I don't know, I just did not have a good experience at all. So we ended up getting a room. We got a room to ourselves because I told them, I booked it in advance. I was like, I'd like a room for my husband and I alone. We booked a bed for him, which was fantastic. So, you know, we got like a double room to ourselves. So I was basically started active labor like really quick. And I could hear, it was like really not a great experience, but like down the hall, I could hear this other woman like screaming. And by this time it was like dark and we'd put the lights off and stuff like so that we could like maybe get a little bit of a nap in. They had the little, they put like this heart rate monitor thing on your tummy so that you can hear the baby's heart rate. And we could hear her heart rate. Everything was fine and everything was healthy. And then next to you, you also get this screen that like shows you every time you have a contraction. You can kind of like see it go up so that you know exactly when you're in a contraction. I mean, if you don't have an epidural, you'll know it anyway because it's probably the worst pain you've ever felt in your entire life. Yeah, so we were in that room together and the lights were off and it was just like I was in so much pain. I can't remember how often my contractions were, like how far apart they were, but it seemed really close. Like as soon as I got through one, you know, like I could breathe a couple times, and then, you know, like I could maybe say one thing to Vaughan, and then it would like start again. And I was like, this is not normal. This baby is not going to come tomorrow. At this point, I'm like writhing in pain. Like I'm laying in the bed, I'm crying, and Vaughan's like, I don't know what to do. How can I help you? I'm like, you can't do anything. Like, I think I'm going to die. I literally told him, I was like, I think I'm going to die. I can't handle this pain. This is ridiculous. I couldn't breathe. It almost feels like at the top of your stomach. I thought contractions were like, you know, like really bad period pain that starts at the bottom. But for me, how I experienced it was I got pain at the bottom and at the top. So at the top, it almost feels like every time you get contraction, the baby like moves like into this little ball thing. And then you get the worst pain in your stomach up here. Personally, I couldn't breathe. Like it just probably sound like a drama queen, but it was really sore, really, really sore. So then I told Vaughan, I was like, please go find a nurse, find anyone to help me. He comes back like a few minutes later, he's like, there's no one. They're all busy with the other lady giving birth down the hall. Like, there are no nurses available. And I was like, go back in there and get someone, because I feel like I'm dying. So at this point, it was probably about 12 midnight. And, you know, like I'm still busy crying in bed, and Vaughan is like freaking out. So we finally get a nurse, and she was like a temporary nurse. Like she wasn't supposed to be working there. She actually worked at a different department of the hospital. So she wasn't even in the labor ward usually. I mean, the maternity ward usually. So already that made me like kind of nervous, but she was really nice. And, she was like, no, you know, I can't give you an epidural, because at this point I was begging for an epidural. I was like, please give me an epidural, like I can't stand this. So she was like, there's no anaesthetist on site right now, so for the meantime I'll give you this injection. I can't even remember, I don't know what the name of it was, but that was a bad idea. Oh my gosh, I like felt delirious. She put it in, I think it was my left butt cheek, and like it didn't help for pain one single bit. It just made me feel totally out of it. I just remember feeling like really dizzy and really confused. And Vaughan was drinking something next to me. I kept asking him like, where did you get the coffee from? I need some coffee, like go get me coffee. Where's it? He's like, this isn't coffee, this is Red Bull. I got it from the machine. And I was like convinced that he was drinking a cup of cappuccino or something. So I was already like really upset, like how could you get coffee without me? Like I'm so thirsty, I'm in so much pain, I need coffee, I'm tired. And he kept saying like, it's not coffee, it's Red Bull, and I hate Red Bull, so I should have known from the smell. But at that point I'd had this injection, so my butt cheek was like paining. It was like throbbing and aching, so already my stomach's like killing me. My butt cheek is really sore and numb, and this injection just made me go like bonkers. I was just confused and dizzy. That was like the worst thing. Never get that. Like if you have the option, just be like, no thanks, I don't want it. Or at least for me, if I ever go to the hospital again for that, for having a baby, I will not be getting that injection. And after that, after it started to wear off a little bit, maybe, I don't remember how long it took, but the lady came back and she's like, look, listen, you can't get an epidural, like it's a little bit late for that now, and it's like the middle of the night, we can't get an anaesthetist. And at this point I was freaking out. Like I was crying and I was telling Vaughan like, I'm gonna die, this is ridiculous. And I was getting angry at the nurses, which, sorry nurses afterwards, like I felt really bad, but like I just couldn't talk, and I was just getting so angry with them because they wouldn't give me this epidural. And then they all leave and they're like, you know, still thinking like your baby's gonna be hours away. So I was like, okay, great, no problem, let me just chill here in the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like I swear a few minutes later, after the lady left, I was like, babe, you need to get them back, I think she's coming now. So Vaughan like gets the nurse back again. He's like, listen, please, can you just check, like see what's going on, something's wrong. She like checks, she's like, oh crap, you're like 9 centimeters dilated, like your baby's gonna be born like any minute. So I'm like freaking out. They're on the phone to my obstetrician and gynecologist, and they're like, listen, you need to get to the hospital now because this baby's about to be born. They're like, come, let's like walk you down the hall to like the delivery room, because at the moment I was laboring just in the normal room that you would end up staying in afterwards. So I'm busy like get off the bed, contractions are so bad, I'm like curling over, Vaughn's like rubbing my back. Then I'm like trying to walk down the hall, and sorry guys, like skip this part if you don't want to know, but like it felt like I had to go to the bathroom really bad, but it felt like she was going to be born like any second. Like I honestly can't explain it, what it felt like, but like I couldn't walk. So I was like standing there trying to hobble down the hall. I get onto the bed, like I lay down onto this bed, and the lady starts getting like all these tools ready next to her, and it was just like bad experience, like one of those movies that you watch where like everything is white and sterile, and it just did not feel welcoming or nice, and I was in so much pain. Literally, my doctor gets there, she is honestly, she's the best. She like gets there, and Vaughan says, she like looks at the nurses, she's like, where are my tools? Like, why is everything not set up? So the nurses are like busy trying to get all these tools set up and whatever she needs to deliver a baby. Literally, it was not even minutes after she arrived, and she was like, okay, you're ready to push, let's go. So I was like, what? And like how it works is you have to push at the like height of your contraction. I don't know why, I don't know how it works, but that's just how it works. I didn't even push a lot. It was maybe like 5 times or something, and like she was born. But at that point, the pain disappeared. Like there was no more pain. And that's just how it happened. It was so fast. It happened really fast, and I'm so thankful for that. But it was the worst pain I've honestly ever experienced in my entire life. Like, for those other moms of you who didn't get an epidural, like, let me know what your experience was in the comments below, or you can send me like a private DM on Facebook or Instagram. I'll put my link in the description below, so you know, I can have a chat about it. I'd like to hear about your story. But yeah, like no pain medication. I had this baby like completely naturally, other than that one injection in my butt cheek, which didn't help at all. Like, it was really intense. Like I remember Vaughan, he had to go like wash his face because he was like about to faint. Obviously he's like watching that side, I can't see anything. Yeah, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because, like, you know, that's pretty personal. But yeah, then at 1:03, this little beautiful bundle of joy was born, and honestly, I was so happy. I felt like so exhausted, but I didn't even care. I didn't care that I'd been through so much pain. I didn't care that I felt like I was dying. She was there, like this baby we'd waited for months and months and prayed for, and just, she was there and she was healthy. She was born at 3.6 kilograms, born at 37 weeks plus 0. So literally on 37 weeks she was born, and she was really healthy, like just a perfect little baby. Like she wasn't even wrinkly, she just looked perfect to me anyway. And we were just so blessed that she was healthy, and it was probably literally the best moment of my life. Oh, I'm even getting like emotional thinking about it now. And then like once she was born, like I hadn't really thought about how I wanted it to go in the hospital after she was born. And like now looking back, I should have done a lot more prep and talked to the nurses and talked to the doctor and stuff like that about how I wanted to be dealt with and how I wanted Ava to be dealt with afterwards. Because literally, I think she was put on my chest for like a few minutes, and then they just took her away. Like, they were like, no, you need to get your rest, we need to weigh her. And I think Vaughan went with her somewhere, and you know, they weighed her and made sure she was healthy and okay, and they put the baby clothes on her or wrapped her in a towel or something. I can't quite remember, but I just remember not having her with me and like feeling so scared and not knowing like where she was. And then I was just so exhausted. I was really tired. So then they wheeled me back into like my actual room where we were staying. And then, you know, our family was there, and they said hi and whatever, had a look at the baby through the glass, because that's how it works. And I don't think this is actually how it's supposed to happen, but they were all there with me. And I don't think usually the family is really allowed to come in the room and stuff. Like, I don't know how it really works usually. But yeah, that is how it worked for us. They took the baby away, and I just remember, like, when it was time for us to go to bed, like, my memory's kind of blurry from that night. It was like, they just kept her. Like, they didn't really let me breastfeed her at all, which I, at the time, didn't really think anything of, because I didn't really know how it worked, didn't know how often they had to drink and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, and they were like, no, you guys need a rest, like, you need to sleep and rest, like, we'll take care of the baby. Like, me being so delirious and tired, I just conked out. But now thinking back at it, the next day I woke up, I was like, shit, like, where's my baby? Where is she? Like, I was like really scared and nervous. And then they like brought her into me. She'd already like been put in her baby clothes and stuff. And then they like told me, no, her sugars are dropping. I have to give her formula. So me like freaking out was like, give her anything she needs to get her sugars up, you know? So I don't want something to happen to her. And like, I could have just breastfed her and no one showed me, no one brought it to me and was like, come feed your baby. Like, it just didn't happen. They gave her formula. And afterwards, now that I'm such a big breastfeeding advocate, I was like, I'm furious thinking about it, because I'm like, you do not have the right to give my baby formula, because I could have breastfed her, and that's my connection with her and my journey that you're taking away from me. So I was like really annoyed about that. But you know, in the long run, she's healthy and she was fine. So that was fantastic. But yeah, they didn't even really properly show me how to breastfeed or how to do anything with the baby at all. The next morning, this pediatrician came in, checked Ava, and was like, no, she's fine. And this lady just didn't talk any sense to me. She didn't seem like she knew what she was doing at all. Not to be rude or judgmental or anything, but I didn't have a good experience with her. And then I literally told them, like, I want to leave the hospital. It was like 10 a.m. and I was like, get me out of this place. I do not want to be here anymore. Like, I'm not having a good experience. So they're like, okay, we'll call your obstetrician and your doctor and she can come sign you out if you're well enough. And luckily, I didn't have any stitches. I didn't have any tearing. I felt great. Like, I got up in the morning early, I showered, I washed my hair, I did my makeup, I got dressed. Like, I felt fine. I didn't really have too much pain. I could sit down perfectly fine. Like, I was actually, like, miraculous. Like, I didn't have any tearing, which was just amazing. So then the doctor came, she was like, no, you're fine. Like, you should really stay another night, but if you want to go, I was like, get me out. I want to go. So the next day at like 12, we left the hospital and got to take our little baby home. And it was like just so amazing. And I remember walking out of the hospital and it was raining and we had this little baby. And if you guys have watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I love the rain. I really love the rain. So that was like really special to me. And we got to take her home and just experience her, and it was so incredibly amazing. And that's it. That's probably all I have for this birth and delivery story. Let me know, like, I know that was really rushed and my mind was a little bit jumbled up, but that was sort of my experience. Did not have a good hospital experience. I think next time I'd definitely opt for a home birth if everything was healthy, just so that Ava could also be here with us and I didn't have to leave her with someone, but also just so that I'd possibly have a better experience, because I did not have a good experience with the hospital. But anyway, I think you guys get the point of it. I've said that enough. That was my birth and delivery story. Let me know how it was for you guys in the comments below, and hit the subscribe button and the like button to support me through this video. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below for future videos, and all that jazz. And yes, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.